Hello, good evening, welcome to Rangers Radio. Join myself, Foxchair, on the show this evening. Is man Mucker Bridgeman. Jaff will be with us shortly. Evening, Bridge.
No, good evening to you, Foxchair, and good evening to your techie boys in the background, and to all the Rangers fans that are listening in all over the world. Good evening and welcome to Rangers Radio.
Bridgeman, you're a man of a certain vintage, yeah? Mature, debonair.
Debonair, yeah.
Yeah. Has there been an overreaction
to the loss?
Yes.
No, I don't think there's been an overreaction. I think that there's a great expectation among the fans that the board will do something, because conditions as they are can't go on. Those situations can't go on. They just can't. And I think it's the most horrid feeling I had Saturday, the Sunday, and it wasn't nice with all this what was going on. There's things getting thrown onto the pitch, all that nonsense. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that nobody else ever does it. I'm not saying it hasn't been done in the past. But now, in this modern day, we shouldn't be doing it. Our team, our club, should not, our fans shouldn't be doing that. Who the team? That's a different thing entirely. My goodness gracious, they deserved it. That's my honest opinion. But I don't know what the management can do about it anyway. Because all these guys, they're on contracts, so they have to work it out. Difficult, very difficult for the club. Very difficult.
Yeah. I was just wanting to get your view, because obviously you've seen a few. Who would your first manager been then? Struth, would that be right? Or would you Scott Simon,
Simon, probably, yeah. I think I was there. I think I went to see one game. I'm not that sure, with my old granda against the Clyde, and I think Struth was still the manager then.
Right, okay.
But I was more interested in Clyde because my granda's team, you know.
Hmm.
I was only 6.
So Scott Simon, I mean, it's some great
Scott Simon was there.
Yeah, some great success and a fabulous team, and ultimately was a manager at Berwick Rangers, you know.
It was indeed, and didn't Berwick Rangers kill a lot of people in that sense? And of course, the Gornik of Poland game we played.
That was Davy White was a manager then, wasn't he?
Oh, sorry, forgive me. He took over and he did the same thing. Gornik of Poland ruined him. Berwick Rangers ruined a lot of things. You know. Apologies. Slip of the mind.
Yeah, but I mean, Davy White. Some people would argue. I mean, well before my time, you know. But some people would argue never get a fair crack at the bit. I mean, where did he go to the last game of the season without losing a match, Bridge?
That's correct. I mean, he was a manager of Clyde, and he came to the Rangers, and it was like, for think about it, the season that ended up third in the league or something when Davy White was there. So he managed to come across, and it was all right. I think he didn't speak as roughly and gruffly as a lot of folk thought he would, but sometimes that doesn't mix right. So he was getting a bit of verbals from none other than Alex Ferguson, things like that. So lots of things were happening at Ibrox then. But it was welcomed in because the football he was playing with Clyde was very, very good. Players were well coached. Now, it's obviously I know, and everybody knows, you come to a club like Rangers, it's a different ball game. The manager's got to
be similar. The point I'm getting to, you're that vintage. Is there similarities between David White and Michael Beale, were maybe just decent fellas, but the job is just too big for them? Is that?
Yes, I think that's 100% true. I think there's been a few managers that have come along and managed us, and the club was too big, the players were too big, and everything about the club was far, far too big for them. And who was the French boy that came over?
Oh, Paul Le Guen.
Le Guen. Yeah, I thought Le Guen would have been a perfect match for Rangers. Didn't work out for him. So, for whatever reason, he just couldn't handle it all. For whatever reason, he couldn't handle it all.
Yeah, there's similarities there as well, because he lost the support in the team, Le Guen, through selections. If I'm being honest, Bridge, it was just selections.
Yeah, well, that's... The Rangers fans think they know how. Every Rangers fan, including myself, think they know how to pick the team, what team's the best, and so on and so forth, more than the coach or the manager. But seriously, the big arrows pointing to Mr. Beale now. The big arrows pointing to him, and I'm absolutely amazed that the club hasn't come out with any more information about it as to what's going to happen. If indeed anything.
Sometimes silence is more than 1,000 words, Bridgman. You know that.
Oh yes, absolutely. Absolutely, pal. But it is sad. It's sore for the Rangers fans. It's very, very sore for the Rangers fans. Now, here we are. It's a week into this stupid international break, or roughly a week into it. And you know something? I'm actually enjoying the peace and quiet. I'm not reading any papers. I'm not reading any sports stuff. Nothing. This is it, as far as I'm concerned. And I'm quite enjoying that. I don't want to read about Rangers and all the nasty people that are saying nasty things about Rangers. And in the past, I've always tried to defend all that. Let it go. So, as far as I'm concerned, just let it go to everybody.
So we have to move on, and it might be we'll have Michael Neil ways or no, and that's a decision for the club, you know, and for the club only. But we'll see where that takes us. I just wanted to get your take, the similarities. I think there is a couple there in the guys you mentioned. I'm not going to take Kachina down that road because he's never ever been anywhere near a cup.
A complete mismatch, wasn't it?
A
complete mismatch.
You know, but maybe there's also similarities between, and I'm not saying the kind of job they've done because of different circumstances. And Mark Warburton, he came in and he did this plan A, and if it's not working, you do plan A better. Well, I don't believe that. I think if that's the case, you don't need a football manager, mate, because you just put the team on the park, and if you need a football manager to change things and to react to the other team, if you accept that you play in a league where there's competition, and that competition might be the teams try and stifle you or they're similar to you. So you have to react to what the other team do in a game of football.
Yeah, agreed. I think that Warburton was a coach. He was a football coach. He wasn't a club manager, in my opinion. But I loved him when he came, and I thought he was going to do wonderful, wonderful things for us.
You loved his song, didn't you?
I loved his song. I thought it was fantastic. I loved everything about it. The pizzazz, everything. But you know, when you go and watch them getting thrashed with Celtic at Hampden and things like that, you know, and then they beat Hibs and lost it. When they beat Celtic, sorry, and they lost the final to Hibs. Oh, jeez. And the pitch invasion, all that. Terrible.
Well, go back. I got a fight taking you home.
Yeah, by the way, that was the only happy thing Fox said. The only happy thing about that day was that you get fined. I know he said that to me, but I don't know why.
It's true.
It was him that was guiding you.
It was.
He was a passenger. I know this place. I've taxis in here for years.
Thank you, Bridge, for telling the truth. Right, so well, Glenn, that was a good shout as well, because obviously he was 6 months. It wasn't even that start of the season, the late Christmas. You know, it was a clash of cultures. You know, but I would say David White, maybe Warburton, there's similarities, yeah. Different, or slightly different, of course. But once you lose the support bridge, or the majority of the support, things get difficult for you. I understand people's rationale by saying, look, we can't keep changing managers. There's a lot of sense in that, Bridgeman.
Yeah, I 100% agree. My only thing about that is, fine, with Mark Chon, with the manager, the club decide they're not going to do anything, and let's go out and but another month down the road, if you've not had results, another month down the road, what are you going to do? Because you're getting to a point where you just can't, whether you do anything or no, make any difference, because you're never going to do anything, you're never going to win anything. You know, I mean, you go and lose another couple of games in the league for us a cup game. It's just the fans are going to erupt. Everything's going to go wrong in the end for them, and the board are going to sit and I don't know whether they're going to just sit and stick in this one. I don't know. But, I can't understand it all. I was hoping that there would be some stuff from the Rangers board this week to say what they're doing, if anything, what they're doing. So when I say what, if anything, I mean what they're doing meaning they're going to keep the manager. That's got to be said. Either they're sticking or
I don't think they will, mate. I don't think they will.
Well, it's going to be sad if they don't. Sure,
I don't think that if I don't think they'll say anything. And if the only statement they'll make is that if they are going to twist me, and we'll hear maybe rumblings if things move or there's movement or people travelling and different things because they want to go and speak to somebody, and I've not picked any of that up. You know, and obviously economics come into play on both sides of the coin, Bridge, because there's money. If you get rid of the manager, you've got all these salaries to pay, and you've got to get rid of his coaching staff, and a new manager comes in, and he's got to deal with other players, and he wants his backroom staff in, so you've got to pay twice in some respects. But then there's the money that if you don't take in because interest wanes, so you've got to balance that, and it's a difficult task, mate.
Yeah, I've got greatest sympathy in the world for the people that run the Rangers accounts, and our accounts are quite tricky anyway. But to me, it should be very straightforward for accountants. It should be very straightforward at Rangers. You're either getting money in or you're no. If you're getting money in, then we should be flush at some point. We can't go on outspending what we're earning. So I know we're earning good money at the moment. I know we've been for the last couple of seasons. We've been earning good money, but not quite the much that we needed because of the amount that we had to go for. We spent a lot of money a couple of seasons ago. We just spent a lot of money building the Edmondson Club and so on and so forth. So there might be next year might still have a bit outlay, you know. But surely we're going to get to the end of that, and no more people hanging around our necks taking money off the club. They can't get it. They make it out of them. Whoops.
Yeah, what I mean is, I think the accounts are all right, Bridge, but the economics come in as let's pick a figure for the head. It costs 2 million, 3 million, 4 million to get rid of all the coaching staff, whatever the wages are on. Yeah. I'm putting a figure out there. I'm speculating, right? We'll just call it £1 million to make it simple. But if you don't do it, sometimes you might lose that revenue with the interest waning because people are just waiting. It's a very, very tricky situation you've got yourself in. And I don't think it's the board's making. They took a punt and it's no worked. And we could talk about that and whether it was the right decision all day long. Anyway, we've been joined by Jaffa. Evening, Jaffa.
How you doing, Ox? How you doing, Bridge? Sorry, apologies for being late there.
No, we'll take a letter. We'll just sit to a letter because you know.
Got a check in it.
Oh, I'm good at that, Bridge. I'm good at that.
So how are you this evening, Jaffa, my South African friend?
Very well, thanks. Yeah, obviously, still got a lot to chat about, haven't we, with everything that's going on?
I've sorted my liver out, Jaffa. No, I just need to sort
my liver.
Tell you what, say dancing shoes, you used to keep them on, boy. You're not bad at that.
Well, have my moments.
You're good.
That's it, yeah. I've had my moments. Very good.
And they're fleeting.
It's like a substitute appearance, isn't it?
Aye, that'll do me, mate. Aye. Scott Wright, last 2 minutes, mate, yeah?
Not a hair out of place.
How are you, Jaffa? How are you?
Not bad, yeah. Recovered, I guess, for the mental torture. In that respect, I guess it's just what now, innit? That's the next question. What do we do now?
Yeah, I'm just saying that, you know, there's a lot of things come into play. Economics come into play, Jaffa. Some people's loyalty, some people's ideas, some people thinking that, you know, and the inside track might think, okay, things aren't as bad as we think. That's their view. I'm not saying it's our view. You know, others will be saying, no, this has gone wrong. And then people have to, I think, make decisions when you've calmed down. I don't think you make them in the Monday morning,
No, Ox, I've no, but I mean, there is always an argument, isn't there, when things, you know, happen the way that they try and, you know, everything sort of unfolded for us on Sunday. And I guess, you know, and I've been listening to the shows throughout the week, and You know, and I guess I've been listening to some other commentators in the outskirts that are Rangers men, and I think everybody to a man is saying the same thing. Ox. It's not just Sunday. It's been brewing. It's been building. You know, the PSV result the week before, the humiliation, if you want to put it like that, and obviously even the pre-season games, which are now in scrutiny. You know, they're in the eye now. They're in the crosshairs because of how poor we were in the close season. So, and obviously the fact that he's had a substantial budget to, you know, I know there's been money recouped, but at the end of the day, he's had 9 players come in, some of which have been on a freeze, some of which we paid substantial transfers for. So, you know, it's a crossroads for me, and I agree with what you're saying. There'll be some people on the board that will probably want to pull the trigger now, and there'll be some people who want to sit tight, and that's what boards are for, you know. And at the end of the day, the board see it differently from the way we do as fans. They see a bigger picture if they want. I'm not saying it's the right picture, but they see a bigger picture. They see a bigger financial picture. Yeah,
in most sports you've got Hawks and Duffs want to go somewhere, some want to go somewhere, one want to go the other. That's business, sir.
Yep. Yeah. But it'll be, you know, for me personally, Ox, I would take this 2-week period to rectify, or at least damage limitation, because I am of the opinion you can't let it go on, because I can't see how that's going to improve that situation. There's no even any embers of improvement. There's been nothing, I don't think, from a footballing perspective that you can cling on to and say, right, okay, well, he's got that bit right, like in the defence or the midfield or the attack. I don't see it.
He can't even get the clobber right from our coaches, isn't it?
No. I seen that white hats and one in a blue hat, and
you know, yeah, it's just maybe too big for him, and it's just don't up to it, and it's not personal, Bridgman. It's sad.
Yeah, it's these are the kind of things we've spoken about, and that'll continue to be spoken about, irrespective of what decision the board makes. People have their own opinions of what should be done, and so on and so forth. Really, truly, it's actually. I feel it more for the club. I think it's quite tragic for our club that this situation has arisen. I think it's quite tragic. I don't know what the recovery could be for Rangers. My honest opinion, I can't see us recovering with his coach. That's my honest opinion, and I dare say there's many in there like it. And of course, there's others who will say, no, we'll be all right. We'll be all right. Just keep going. And my fear is that you're going to go down the road a month and a half, and all of a sudden, I think it falls apart again, you know. And that's what I'm scared about, you know.
I get that. Right, we better get these phone lines open, Jaffa, yeah?
Absolutely. Let's hear what the Bears have got to say.
Let's hear from you.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show. It's your platform. Let's hear from
you. Yeah. I was hoping that the mood and the something would come about the day that would maybe take us down a different path. But it's a driving topic amongst the fans. Now we're in the international break, and so you're not getting the football, the spiel, or the stories, Britain, as you would get as we had games coming up, results coming through, Jaffa. So that was one of the problems with Sunday's result, because that was it. And the pendulum swung right onto our club, whereas we were hoping it would swing the other way, because I think if we'd have got a result, the same result, that they would have been asking questions, yeah?
Yeah, and I think where a lot of the anger and the stands came from on Sunday was because of the actual circumstances of the game, the way it presented itself. Them with an injury-ravaged team, not playing particularly well, coming off of 2 really bad results, one at home, one and getting knocked out of the cup. And yet again, a set of circumstances, and we were in reasonable form in league form, coming off with a terrible result in Europe, of course. But we a decent result at Ross County. Played reasonably well on a ground that tends to always present problems, and we just couldn't capitalise on it, Ox. And it's not just been, and that's my point earlier on. It's not just one of those occasions. It's been 7 of them now that he's had a chance to rectify and get a bit of one-upmanship. And I'm afraid to say, seeing that in central Scotland and in this part of the world, they're the games that matter. And if you're not beating them in Old Firm games and getting league results against them, I just don't know how you can survive it as a Rangers manager. At any point, any time, doesn't matter whether it's the 60s, the 70s, the 90s, the now, it doesn't matter. I don't think you can survive that.
All right, I think we've been joined by Smurf. Evening, Smurf.
Evening, Ox. Evening, everybody.
Hi, Smurf.
Well, I don't know. I've got he's swirling with millions of points here, but no, I was in London watching that game in Islington, and in a pub full of bears and great atmosphere. We get an offside goal chopped off, but that just got everybody fired up, and then the second one goes in. It's a perfectly good goal again, it was chalked off, as we know. But see, just looking at that game, see the first thing that sprung to my mind when the Manx started to settle. See the last game of last season, Cantwell was pushed in a number 10 role, almost kind of free roll, but pushed right on McGregor. And McGregor never, he couldn't breathe. And we all know how that ran out. We ran out 3-0 winners. Why would you take that winning formula against a depleted Celtic team and tear it up and then start with some new mystery way of playing it, where you've no midfielders or you've got holes out of your midfield, you've no width and everything? It's almost like you try to sabotage your own chances. Does anybody disagree that boy Cantwell's impression or ability to impress in the game was completely hamstrung by our manager?
Well, I would say that Todd Cantwell, apart from maybe a spell against Livingston, hasn't hit the heights. But Jaffa, how many different positions has he played in this season?
Oh, Smurf, that's a great point, and I mean, as we know that he's the focal point, and we've already identified that he's the guy that's got the, he's got it all, hasn't he? He's your engine room. He's the guy that's going to create things. He's going to wander into spaces. And as Ox said, I mean, Todd Cantwell's not really put in a 90-minute performance this season. And I think it's partly, I don't think, I know, it's because of the position he's getting played in. Because he's not been getting played in a number 10 role. He's been, and at the weekend there, I think he was, I can't remember, was he out right? And then he was, 1 minute he was playing right back. He was all over the park, but he wasn't in the areas where he should have been playing and should have been told to go and play and instructed to go and play where he's most effective, which is in a number 10 forward, right on the point of the two centre forwards, so that he could play right in behind them and pick up all the loose balls and also create some of the one-touch stuff that Todd Cantwell's really good at doing. I agree with you, Smurf. He was ineffective because of the tactics that was deployed.
It just seems to me that the guy's got an engine. He's mobile. He can get about. He can read the game, and so out of possession, he can press, almost defending for the front. He can press McGregor, who's the guy that makes him tick. And when he's in possession, he's in an area of the pitch, his natural area of the pitch where he should be, where he can best affect the game offensively. And you take that guy and you move him out the way, out in the right, where he's less effective. Now, I would have understood that. Had he brought Lammers to play that position. Lammers has been bombed, right? Lammers, you know, I mean, you say what you like about him. He's really tidy in possession. He's you know, he's a good football player, best five-a-side player in Scotland, sort of thing, right? But he's bombed him. So why is he not put him? Why is he not put Cantwell back in that position if he's bombed Lammers? I don't get it. So it smacks of desperation, you know. As he thought of Lammers isn't what I thought. So we need to bomb him, but I don't want egg in my face and sort of having to put him back in, Cantwell back in. He's you know, because of how people are going to perceive him. I just think he needs to come out and address the fans of what his philosophy is, what he's trying to do, how he's trying to implement it, how he sees players playing, because there's nothing there that I can see that where we can go forward. You know, we've got two wing backs, and if you're going to play with them and play to the player's strengths, no a way I would want to play, we've got to go three at the back. If you're not going to go three at the back, then you need to bolster your midfield and up front, especially in a game like that. I don't care who you're or where you're played or what derbies you're played in. See, when you're not very mobile, like our centre forward, you're going to drop that, in my opinion, that immobile centre forward and put a guy that's tried and tested over the course, like Ruth, just for the experience of nothing else, to get your foothold in that game. You're going to play him up front. For me, he's got to play him up front, and Cantwell's a number 10 behind him. And I look, there's 4 games into the season, right? There's no lot we can do. And I think he's going to be hanging about to Christmas.
All right, mate.
But it's really worrying, you know, going forward. I don't know what the answer is.
I don't think anybody knows. I don't think Smurf and Michael Beale would come out and address the fans, have a special press conference, mate, because the way it is just now, even if he answered all the points impeccably by the bridge, he still gets slaughtered because people, that's part of his problem. We're going to play with a handbrake off, and then we don't, and people are saying, where's this handbrake? Or he's forgot to take it off. So that's part of the problem he's got himself in. He's a good talker. He's a guy that wants to engage with the press, and he wants to engage with us fans, begin his snippets, but sometimes that's a wrong thing to do, Bridgman.
Yeah, I think I'm only going to listen to whatever I can hear up in the Copeland Rear, and I hear a lot. There's got a lot of people that talk to me on this. To be honest, he's saying too much in the press conferences. He might want to wax lyrical and all the rest of it. I beg him now, don't say anything. Just answer the questions as succinctly and quietly as possible. You don't need to say we're going to this and we're going to beat this, that, and the next thing. Just to answer the question. Don't need to do any more, because they're going to rub it in you. No matter what happens, you rub it in you. So as far as I'm concerned, I would prefer our manager to be a bit quieter, smaller demeanour, and so on and so forth, because it's not going to happen for them. They're going to make a fool of them, and the press, that is, just make a fool of them. And they're showing them, they end up putting the worst film on them, the worst picture on them, all this nonsense, just to bring them down. That's what they do, and he could make enemies very easily. I don't want that for the man.
You just antagonise me, eh?
That's it.
Antagonise, wouldn't he? Whatever he said, even if he tried to be honest, and this is what I'm trying to do, people would.
Well, one of the things, Oxtear, I must admit, just what you're saying.
Whatever way he turns, it's just went so quickly, so toxic, Jaffa. Eh?
Yeah, and I agree, lads. I don't think he would be advised, or even if himself, if he thought it was a good idea, it would just be annihilated. It would be hung, drawn. He would be quartered, and it would be, every word that he said would be dissected, and everything that's happened now would be thrown back at him, and that would be from our own fans or ourselves as well. Because he's not done any of that, and it's like everything in football or sport, and our club, you do your talking on the park, You don't talk's cheap. Going out in front of press conferences. MD can do that. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. You don't need to tell MD you're going to do that. Do that behind closed doors. Do that in the dressing room when you're setting the team up. Get them all fired up. That's when you do your talking. That's when a manager's at his most prolific, and he's got the players in the best frame of mind when they're ready to go out and play a match. When they're doing their pre-match, an hour and 45 minutes before kick-off. I mean, on Sunday morning when the team all met up at Ibrox, when the players' cars started rolling in, and they're all inside getting their breakfast and getting sorted out. I mean, some guys can't eat with the nerves, and I always think that's a great sign. That's when the manager does his talking. No to the press. That's nothing.
How can you face food on Sunday morning, Jeff?
I bet you could, mate. I bet you could.
Yeah, I get the rationale, Smurf, but I don't think it's going to happen the next time if the manager's still our manager. And we will, if he is still our manager, we'll start getting behind him as the games come, because ultimately we want him, if he's still our manager, we want him to win the next game, and then we'll get a big European tie the Thursday, and we want him to win that. Because that's what we do. We want the team to win. Yeah, we want him to win real bets. Yeah.
Of course, I totally agree with what you're saying. That nobody wants him sacked. To sack managers it's not because he's successful getting sacked, is it? Let's But what I'm trying to say is that whatever he's trying to do, I think he's got to be now he's got to be pragmatic. If he continues down this road with all the rumours that are abounding of disharmony behind the scenes, etc., etc., if he continues, and he's got to be strong, he can't just every time somebody throws a penny, buckle. I get that as well, but at the same time, whatever system he's trying to implement on that park, it's not working, and he's got to be pragmatic, and he's got to get results. No all the signings have been bad signings. The boy Raskin, he's in the main been a good signing, although he
don't kick the ball this season, mate. Don't kick the ball.
No, but he can't pass the ball, can he?
In fact, there's times when he's been poor. He's endeavour, he's got the ball back, he does really well, reads the play, and then he keys it away. No, but some Raskin's passing up. He had a simple roll back to Jack Butland on Sunday, and he was that short with Butland. He really gave the ball away in the second half.
I remember that. Aye. It's just a case of he's got to be pragmatic. He's got to get his best players on the pitch, in the correct positions, and ball for air. Whatever it is he's trying to do, it's no working. And there's no shame in signing. You've signed 9 players, 10 players, and 3 of them don't work. Well, that's the same the world over at any club.
So 5 or 6 of them don't work.
I know that, but that could be down to the system that he's playing. If he plays to everybody's strengths and gets his best players in the best positions and just be a bit more pragmatic, maybe things will start to turn for him. And then the pressure and the monkeys after his back,
I'll put you on the spot then, Smurf. Yeah, I'll ask you a question. What is his best team?
Well, I don't know what his best team is, but I know what his best players are, and I think well, if it was me, I would start. I think the number 9 position's got to be Roof if he's fit, and the sports scientists will be picked.
I would tell you now that Roof can't play as a lone striker.
Well, I'm not so sure about that.
No, he needs somebody with him, and he needs chances coming in. He's the best finisher, best striker, but maybe go to the club. But I don't think he can play that one role consistently. Jeff?
Maybe.
Yeah, it's a great question. That what is Michael Beale's? What's his best team? I mean, listen, hindsight's a great thing, right? You know, I hear us and I'm one of them that go on about the defence, and it's what I've been brought up on and what I've saw, you know, religiously being successful, not just at our club but many football clubs, is the defence. And I just think whilst we continue to leak really, really, really soft goals, and they are soft, they're as soft as you'll see, some of them. I mean, that goal on Sunday was as soft as you'll see. You know, a header out, goes into the middle of the park and comes straight back over his head. You know, and by that time the centre forward's 3 yards away from him. He's turned and away. He's away like grease lightning. And to be fair to the lad, he finished it brilliantly. You know, he pinged it down to the bottom corner. The only place the goalie's not going to get it, and he did. And that, for me, is a soft goal, is a really soft goal. And we do that week in, week out. And until he gets that defence sorted, I can't see how that's going to rectify itself. Because ultimately, like we all say, we've all heard it, Ox, goals change games. They change the dynamic in a game completely. They change the flow of the game. They change everybody's demeanour in the game. And that's what happened to us on Sunday. That knocked the stuffing out of us on Sunday. You know, just like we've done to many teams as well, when you pinch a goal or you steal a goal. But we can't defend it now. And until that's sorted, and I don't know whether he takes Tavernier out of the team and puts a right back in, puts Sterling in at right back, and just tries to shore up the defence and works for the back forward. And if he can shore up the back line, because I think Golson, you know, I even take Golson out of the team and move Suter. I heard the lads last night, great shout, move Suter a long one and bring Ben Davies back into the defence to give it a natural balance. And that was another problem at the weekend there. The defence was lopsided because there was too everybody was a right footer that was in the back four.
I have no problem. Jaffar, I have no problem our whole team being right footers. But we need some players that can kick a ball. They can kick a ball with a leg.
Me neither.
You know.
But that for me is the fundamental issue, Ox. And he needs to start with that back four. Forget the goalie. The goalie's fine. Goalie's absolutely fine. But he needs to, you know, that's another thing. Jack Butland's even stopped coming out for blooming crosses. You know, because the defence is that shaky. And as long as Tavernier continues to try and play as a right winger, and by the way, I love James Tavernier's goals, so don't misunderstand me. James Tavernier scoring goals is absolutely fantastic. He's brilliant at it. He's our best forward, one of our best forwards in the team. If you know, and he's been done that religiously, but he's not a defender. And I don't think you can compromise the two of them, because that's where a lot of our goals comes from. They come from that right back area.
All right. So we'll get Butland. So far, we'll get Butland in goal and Roof at number 9. Bridge, we're struggling for this best team.
Number 10, Cantwell.
That'll do.
I don't know if number 10. I don't know if he's a number 10, but I think Cantwell's a first name in the sheet for me. He's almost. They could love Cantwell. They love everything about him, and they can hear whenever he's badly tackled, you hear the crowd shouting and bawling, you know. And there was a few nasty tackles on last weekend. I love Cantwell. I don't know who else he would play. I think somewhere along the line, Danilo, you spent a lot of money on him. You need to make a chance to give him a chance to shine. It's just got to happen. You've got to give him a chance to shine, and hopefully if it stays the same, hopefully over the next wee while, he's going to get that. Because otherwise, that boy's just going to fail all the way. Danilo, he's not going to be able to do anything. You can't keep him on for 10 minutes and expect him to be a towering inferno on the pitch. It's not going to happen. It's going to happen. And there's a few other players in that area. But I have to say, I quite liked the left back did quite well for me. The young left back. Can't remember his name for the life of me.
And John Sterling, mate.
John Sterling. I thought he had quite a good game. Nothing too dazzling, but he did quite a good game.
Aye, but maybe Jaffar and maybe it helped cause the goal, didn't it? With just his rustiness.
Yeah, that's probably it. Personally, I blame
I
blame Goldson 100%.
Oh, Goldson.
It was the poorest header out you could imagine for that position. Straight down the middle. No.
Well, put it by the way, if it puts you down the middle of that, should have went another 20 yards, yeah?
Absolutely, Tom, exactly.
Jaffa?
Yeah. I mean, Sterling, to be fair to him, as I said the other night there on the show, that's something they do. They do by default. Their forward line, one of their guys always strays into an offside position, usually the right winger. Or Jota used to do it on the left-hand side because he's not interfering with play. It's actually quite a good move, to be fair, because it causes mayhem in the back line. And the tactic being is that one of that four in the back line is not going to know where to go with the line or go with who's sitting in an offside position. And it's a tenth of a second decision making process. A ball comes over the top like it did, and Sterling just get caught. He just get caught out. It's not. It wasn't. He's not. Barisic has done it regularly. Tavernier does it regularly. So, I wouldn't. I don't think I would hold it against the guy. I know we lost a goal from it, and the goal ultimately stood. But Kyogo still had to go through and finish it. And other things had to come into play, i.e. Goldson shouldn't have headed the ball where he headed it fundamentally. Or that would never have happened.
9/10 of the goal was Goldson's fault, yeah?
Aye, 100%, aye.
100% of the game was Goldson's fault. 100%.
Yeah.
Nobody else was to blame.
Also, if I'm being honest, Smurf, in that situation, if somebody does clear the whole defence should move up 10 yards. Yeah.
Aye, well, everybody should. Aye, of course.
Anyway,
it's by the by. I mean, what it comes down to, ultimately, is something just before the phone I heard Bridge mentioning was finances. It's we need significant investment in the team. It's easy to say he's not the man for the job. So if you go and identify, I heard somebody saying the other day, we need another Walter, and then somebody else saying we've got one, it's Walter Mitty. But the point is that if we go and replace him, you're going to have to replace him with somebody of some substance. And anybody of substance is aware of their own sort of standing and credentials and reputation, and they're not going to want to sort of put that at risk. So they're going to want money to go and buy the right players that take the club forward. So even though we've had record-breaking turnover, etc., and the books are balanced and all the rest of it, you need money to go and spend in players. You're supposed to have spent 13 million on 9 players. Well, there you go. That's what you get for 13 million pound and 9 players nowadays. So there needs, and that's not a problem. It's not a Rangers problem. That's a problem for Scottish football. There needs to be, and it's kind of way off the subject, a holistic approach, a sort of root and branch review of the structure of the whole game in Scotland, and to take things forward.
Great point you make. After the performance with the European teams, the 4 European teams, including ourselves, after the PSV debacle, yeah, we knew it was a tie that we were one of the favourites in Bridgeman. But the performance and the result over there, the results for the rest of the Scottish teams in Europe, were the press beating the jump for change? Were they talking about changing our league, talking about changing our surfaces, talking about changing when we play, talking about trying to revolutionise the game? Get nothing. Absolutely nothing.
No, they've not got it. The press in this country haven't got it. Nobody listen to them. The only people that write the stories for is our at Parkhead. They're not writing it for anybody else. They don't have stories about other teams. They only have stories about Celtic. And by what if it's a Rangers story, they're going to bring Celtic in anyway. So that's all they do. Nothing. They don't do anything for the league or the cups. They don't do anything like that. It's just the glory of.
Yeah. If you were having an adult conversation, I would start with the league setup. If I'm being honest, I know we've dissected, we've digressed a bit, Jaffa.
Well, of course, Ox, and that's a topic that I think a lot of football fans, look at and think, the setup's not working, because we're not filtering any money down. Well, there isn't any money fundamentally. I mean, we need to start with that as well. The way that the product's being sold, or the lack of it, by both the SFA and the SPFL. And then the league format Ox, to try and make it more interesting, and this playing each team 4 times a season. And I think every player in the SPFL would tell you that that's monotonous. If you stay in the SPFL for 3 or 4 years and you've played the same team 12, 15 times, I mean, that's part of the problem. That is part of the problem. And that's all done out of fear because of 4 Old Firm games with Sky. And the money, and I personally think they need to, because that doesn't happen in any other league in Europe, doesn't happen in Sweden, doesn't happen in Norway, i.e. the teams play each other 4 times. It doesn't happen in Belgium.
There's 3, and I think the Belgium, Holland, Switzerland, you can play somebody 3 times. I'm saying that for memory. I've not checked it, Jaffa.
Yeah, and then it splits away at the top. Yeah.
Right.
It splits away at the top into like a championship.
It's even worse, Jaffa, really, right? And I'm being hypothetical here. If your fixtures say that you play Aberdeen 3 times after New Year, yeah, it falls like that. You catch them 3 times after New Year, the way the fixtures fall. You draw them once in the cup. There's a replay, right? So the back end of one season, from January to the end of the season, you could play them 5 times, hypothetically, yeah. And then the way the fixtures fall, you play them in the League Cup, and then you play them twice at the start of the next season, just the way the fixtures fall. In a calendar year, from January to December, you could play somebody 8 times. How ludicrous is that?
Mental. And that, by the way, that's not out with the realms of possibility. I mean, look how many times we played them last season between cup competitions, and that by its very that turns people off, because it's not as attractive as playing them once or twice a season like they do in most other leagues across the country. So I agree with Yorks and Smurf. I would primarily start with looking at that. But you're right, the media in this country don't hold the authorities to account. And when I sat in a modern studies class, and I always remember my first one, that was the very first thing they taught you about the press. The press by their job was to hold, whether it be a government to account or a body to account, but they don't do that in this country. They don't hold the SFA to account.
Just for the record, in that modern studies class was Lord Beaverbrook.
Very good.
Yeah. No, but just a point on it, Ox. I mean, see if they were going to stick with 4 times a season, right? It's toxic in the way that, you could be at different teams, play Aberdeen away 3 times, for instance, or this nonsense. See, we've got 42 teams in our professional setup. And if we had 3 leagues of 14, and then a 7-7 split, if you were determined to have these 4 games, at very least, it breaks the monotony up a wee bit, home and away, and then that gives you 26 games, and then split, and then a 7-7, and then another home and away, the 38-game season. And at least you're taking out the equation the chance that you're going to go to an away ground 3 times. You're guaranteed you're going to play 2 at home, 2 away against any given team. But really, it needs to be an 18, for me, like an 18-team league or something like that, where with more international breaks than ever. You've got the weather to factor in. We've got a winter break. We're always whinging that they never consider sort of postponing games because of fixture congestion. if you were to have 34 games a season, then you would have 2 home games that you're not playing, and this would be better for pitches. It'd be better for everything. And if you throw
economics, what would economics, mate? Where's the revenue come from?
Well, in terms of what the TV money, you talk about the cash through the gates.
Both.
Well, cash through the gates. I mean, if I think for me, for one, right, season ticket holder, I'd happily take a price freeze, even if it was dropping the price by 2. Not everybody can do that, but by 2 games a season, if it was going to improve the product. I think the currency of the old firm's been, the value of it has been it's depleted because it's, scarcity of anything increases revenue. So if you only go 2 games a season, they're going to be more valuable. So surely they become more marketable. Surely having more
on the telly and the demand, because you can only get X amount in the stadium. Pitch and you come.
I was just going to say I agree with what we were saying there. The truth is, the authorities, they won't give up the split. In my opinion, they won't go with. They want 12 games, and they want each club to have 2 Old Firm games visiting them. Two Rangers and Celtic visiting at least twice in the season. That's what they want, and that's what gives them the money. And you can tell they don't even get any money for the league. I don't know what it is, paltry sum for winning the league, £1 million or something. I don't even know what it is. But seriously, they don't get any money at all. Their TV's their TV deal with Sky has actually went down in real terms. It actually went down. They're not getting any money in. They never will, in all probability, because they can't run the place properly. I'm not saying that anybody else will just walk in and do it, but it's just not going to happen, and they won't change that because there's the money. It comes for most of the money will come for Rangers and Celtic fans.
Yeah, I don't really know the answers, but I just know that what the status quo needs to change. I mean, if you go back to the 60s and the 50s, I mean, Bridge is probably best place to, but I think Hibs were maybe the first Scottish team to play in European football and go to a European semi-final. We played a European final. There was three finals in the 60s, 2 in the 70s. You had Dunfermline, Everton in Europe, Kilmarnock doing well, winning the league, and I'm just saying that for the overall health of Scottish football, because it's a monopoly with our 2 teams, Celtic and Rangers, it's monopolised, isn't it? And there's a handful of teams that are sort of feeding off the crumbs by getting these extra games, but for holistically, the more teams that are in that league and getting some money, they can nurture youth, etc., etc. And I just think the game will improve. And for TV deals, I mean, I have no idea what that big plan. All I'm saying is it's not working what we've got to do, and and in the past it was better.
Without a doubt, it's not working. If people were serious about the game, Jaffa, they'd be crying out for root and branch fixes. But ultimately, we're only interested in our club. Yeah, and there's a lot of things working at the club, but ultimately, we only care about the first team results, mate. And I don't mean that to be flippant to the boys in the B team or our ladies team that we want them to win. But first and foremost, it's about the first team.
Yeah. And all those other issues, with the league and stuff like that. Well, I mean, just quickly on that, Ox, we tried to instigate a root and branch, sort of look at it, investigation. We even tried to bring in Deloitte to try and do that, and it was just, it was resisted by the current cabal that's in operation in it, and they'll have their own reasons for doing that, and I think I know what those reasons are, but you know that's for a different show. But as you say, ultimately we've got to concentrate fundamentally what happens at our club and what happens at the first team at Ibrox on a Saturday or a Thursday or a Wednesday night. And that's where our problems lie right now. You know, we the situation that we're in with the current manager, with Michael Beale. You know, and I know the shows here on Rangers Radio, and you know, we've cut the bones there, and we'll continue to do that. You know, we've all got our opinions on it and how we see it. I think most of us are mainly aligned in the same thing. You know, we just can't see how we can navigate our way out of this.
Okay. Right, before we go to the tune, right, just quickly before we go to the tune, Mr. Fox has went awful shy. He doesn't want to come on. Maybe it's a love bites, I don't know, right? But he's come out with a team, yeah? And his team it's a 3-1-4-2 Jaffa, right? And it is Butland, of course, Coulson, Suter, Davis, Rascal, Lawrence, Sibientes, Cantwell, Dow, Sima, and Danilia. So I can see him. He's got Dow on the left, Sibientes on the Lawrence on the right. Would that be right saying that? Yeah. Cantwell, no, Dow maybe. I don't know. I don't know where he's got the players playing. But then up front, he's got Sima and Danielio.
Like Lawrence on the left, wouldn't he?
3-5-2 to me.
Well, why 3-1-4-2, Briggs? You can dress it up like that, can't you? You can dress it up like that. Right, okay. Come back to that after the tune for Mr. Fox. Get yourself a mute, gentlemen. We're going to have a tune.
As we go marching down the Paisley Road west, the doors and the windows open wide, you will hear the people cheer, the Glasgow Rangers boys are here. It's Glasgow Rangers for me. Blue is the colour, football is the game. We're all together, Glasgow Rangers is our name. For we are the best team in all Scotland, and Glasgow Rangers is our name. So bring on the Celtic, your Hibs and Aberdeen, your Dundee United, we're the best you've ever seen. We play hand on heart, God save the Queen. It's Glasgow Rangers for me. As we go marching down the Paisley Road west, the doors and the windows open wide, you will hear the people cheer, the Glasgow Rangers boys are here. It's Glasgow Rangers for me. Blue is the colour, football is the game. We're all together, Glasgow Rangers is our name. For we are the best team in all Scotland, and Glasgow Rangers is our name. So bring on the Celtic, your Hibs and Aberdeen, your Dundee United, we're the best you've ever seen. We play hand on heart, God save the Queen. It's Glasgow Rangers for me. It's Glasgow Rangers for me. It's Glasgow Rangers for me.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Right, you back with us?
Yep.
Right, look at this team again. Our Foxes quickly. Coulson, Stewart, Davis, Raskin, Lawrence, Cervantes, Cantwell, Dill. So Dill's on the left, Lawrence on the right, or Cervantes on the right. I think it would need to be Lawrence. He's more a wider player, yeah? Was that your thinking, Jaffa?
Yeah, I was thinking as long as no left, is a left pegger.
Aye, Hutch, mate. But then maybe play Dill on him. Oh, I don't know what he's thinking. I don't know what he's thinking. He's just
You're not sick. See the 3-1-2-4.
right.
You've got three players in the back. Raskin sitting, 4 across the middle and 2 up front. What's hard about that?
Right. So the one sitting Raskin.
One sitting is Raskin, yes.
Oh, that worked well at the weekend, didn't it?
Well, I'll tell you why I would do that. I would take the full-backs out, mate, because they get the blame of everything, and I'd like to see how our team gets on without them.
You want to experiment? Is that what you want to do, or do you want to see if they miss them?
Well, most of those players are a good mixture of the manager's team that he's brought in, mate. You've got to give the manager a chance and the team a chance to win the fans back. We've all shown our disapproval. The board on the shifting, so get behind the team for at least 5 games. Give them a run with a team like that. Only changes, injuries. And if he doesn't make it, then it's time to go.
Aye, well, it's radical blocks. I think some people would like the team. Yeah. Jaffa?
Well, that's not a bad shout. I mean, certainly against certain oppositions, see at the back has been muted before. It certainly pushes you up the park, that's for sure, with the amount of attacking players on it.
Fox Fox, who's going to take the throw-ins?
Nearest player to the ball and as quickly as possible.
I know, I'm facetious, sorry, mate. Carry on, Jaffa.
Exactly. No, yeah, he's right there as well, by the way, 100%. Nearest player to the ball takes the throw-in and throw it down to the deck like everybody else does, so you can get it instantly under control instead of still throwing it at waist height. I listen, see at the back, I think it's something a lot of fans, me included, I thought in certain, I guess certainly in Ibrox, Ox, I've got no problem with trying that, and if you can, those 3 guys, I don't see why that wouldn't work. And with the amount of attacking options on there, I certainly would give it a go. I would certainly, it can't be any worse than where we are right at this moment in time. As I often said, Ox, I still yet to find out what the structure is that Michael Beale's operating. At least that gives it it defines exactly who's doing what, 4 in the middle of the park for extra security. I like that. In a lot of games, I think 4 in the middle is a great way to get control of the game. And it means you can break and you've got a lot of players forward on the forward line for a press. So I wouldn't be off here starting with that.
Snuff?
Aye, well, I don't think I would ever start a game without a fit roof. And I like the 3 at the back only because, but not employed the way Fox has suggested, only because I think it would actually suit the full-backs that we've got and it would give us the width that we need. But I understand and I like the premise of what he's saying.
Of course, somebody might like Bridgeman.
What's that, Ox, yeah?
You'd like it, eh?
Oh, I'm a big fan of the 3-5-2 system, or some small derivative of it. But you need 3 really, really good players at the back, and they're obviously able to interchange as well. So yeah, it's fundamental. They're your back line, and away you go. There's lots of teams start up with that in Europe. You can see them playing against us, the back. But one of those players dropped right back, so they're just in front of the goalkeeper, shall we say. So that's invariably what happens with these things. If we drop one of ours back, the rest of them are knackered, So if you see Golson hanging about the penalty area, then you know that nobody else can be there with him. So
What I like, sorry, what I like about that is that, I like how we've all seen it. A big suitor will take the ball and he'll break the first line, is it, where he'll step out into midfield and go on a run, and it still gives you coverage and it gives you that extra man in midfield then. So I think that would work quite well.
Well, it's all about positions, you know. See with the centre backs we've got there, if I was picking holes in them with a 3-5-2, and I've got to commend Fox, and he's out the box thinking, Jaffa. But the one thing that would worry me against the team, most of the teams in Scotland, I don't think we'd have a problem. There you go, right? But in a close game where you were competing, there's a lack of pace in the back line, isn't there? A real lack of pace. And that's what
we wouldn't
have
played three at the back. We wouldn't have played three at the back on Sunday, would we, Ox, against them at Ibrox?
But if you were wanting to go that way and you're comfortable in the formation, why would you know? Because it's up to you're going man for man at the back, but then you've got the extra bodies in the midfield. So the rationale is that they might be playing three of the ball, but they can't get the ball because you're controlling the midfield.
Yeah, and that in theory works, because that's where we lost the game on Sunday. Yeah. Listen, again, I think in certain games it would be really successful, and I think it would be something I'd like to see, or a version of 3-5-2, as Bridge said. We with that mobility and the balance that Ben Davies brings in the left, and as Smith said, a great point. Big Suitor does that, and he would probably do it even more if he was playing in a 3, because he would feel more secure with the two sitting behind him, that he could break the line, because he's good at it. He's very good at it. So I think it's got some mileage in certain games. But for example, we're not going to play like that against Real Betis with 3 at the back, not currently with those 3 guys now, because they'd have not done it enough to give you confidence and proof that they could do it. And my only point in defence, I know what Fox is saying, it's, you know, getting on the fullbacks, getting on their back, so to speak. I'm genuinely not getting on James Tavernier's back. I'm not, and I don't want to take him across that way. I think what James Tavernier does going forward is unbelievable. I think it's mental, actually, to the extent that it blows my brains, because I can't believe a right back can score. It's not just the goals, it's the quality of goals that he scores. It's the positions he takes up. He thinks like a forward. He behaves like a forward, and he defends like a forward. And that's my point about why we lose so many. Okay, we get targeted. That part of our defence constantly gets targeted by every team. So that means every opposition manager is watching videos of us going, there's our weak link, there's our weak link. So why would we keep on giving that up to the opposition, knowing that that's the weak link of your team? That's the bit that blows my brains completely. Because if I'm the manager sitting in the dressing room, I'd stop that.
Risk and reward, isn't it?
Aye, I get that, Ox. I get that point as well.
You think it's right or wrong, it's that risk and reward, isn't it? It's like going through the back, isn't it? It's a risk and reward, yeah.
But does the 3 at the back no give you an insurance policy where the risk is concerned? Because there's an extra defender.
How's there an extra defender if I play with 3 forwards and I tell 2 to be hog the touchline?
No, but what? No. What I'm saying is, see, we've got 3 defenders, right? And 3 centre halves, and you actually are sensible about it, and you play Barisic, and you play Tavernier to bomb up and down.
5 defenders.
I know that. And what I'm saying is, but see if they've got licence, which is what he wants to do in the current system. He wants his width to come for his fullbacks. But there's no insurance policy. If you put an extra set, if you put somebody in the left and somebody in the right, and you've got Big Soapy in the middle, for instance, then if the possession's turned over and they're going to try and hurt you on your wings, you've got that extra man that can in that 3 to go across and try and deal with that until we get back up the pitch.
Maybe in certain games, particularly maybe say away from home, and and against Eindhoven, when you want to keep it tight for the first tour, I would accept that. But if we played anybody in Scotland, if we played Livingston, they would try and keep in the game, and then what they would try and do, David Martindale would say, right, 15 minutes to go, 2 guys up, playing really wide, with a fast guy through the middle, hoping that he stretches your back 3, and then it becomes a foot race 1-on-1. That's the downside.
You've got a bench, and you've got a bench. You've got a bench you can go to, and you can change it again, can't you? And you can go to a 4-3-3 or whatever.
That's the downside of your system. Yeah, and if you play against two players, good pacey players, sensible players that play for the team, that's the problem with the 3 at the back, Bridge, isn't it?
Absolutely, Paul. Yeah, the doors have got to be closed defensively. And if you've not got pace out of the 3 at the back, if you've not got any pace, you're going to struggle badly. And if you're what they called wing backs, if you've got the 2, the sort of 2 of the 5 at the back playing wide, then they're in the midfield, then they're going to have to do more defensive work based on the teams that play against us now. But the players that we've got, positionally and possession-wise, they could play that. The difficulty is, are they skillful enough and fast enough to be able to do the reverse when they're being attacked? Can they get back and play in plenty of time? Can they make that decisive tackle at pace? I don't know if our players can do it, but I'd love to see us get it out there and just do it.
I've always said that, Bridge. I've always said that the problem is, right, if in a close game, and you're playing, and you've got the midfield sitter, which Fox has got 1, and then your 2 wide men get pinged back, you end up with 6 defenders, Jaffa, like we did at the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you gear up in the midfield. That's the flaw in that system. So
that's what happened. That's precisely what happened, Dogs.
Do we look well enough coached to do that? Yes or no?
Not at this stage. No, we don't. Oh. And the other thing, Ox, I would say, just to add another bit onto that, see the way that we currently play now, where we've got these fullbacks bombing forward, as Smith said, and what we've heard, to get the width. We've all heard that. That's where we get our width from. One of the other things I see happening on a regular basis, Ox, see, because they bomb forward, see the amount of players that are in front of them, because you've got Matondo out wide, or you've got Sima out wide. There's too much traffic. Nobody can play through empty. And I think that's what slows us down. Because you feel compelled to play a pass to somebody rather than actually just playing into the space. Because if you looked at PSV, that's all they did. They made the ball, the old adage of what you're coached, make the ball do the work. Play the ball into space. Constantly looking for a man in space, looking for that 10-yard, that 15-yard pass. People running into space. It's too congested the way we play sometimes. There's too many men trying to get forward at the one time. And I think that's what slows us down quite often in the flanks. And that's when we end up where we got, and in particular at the weekend there, you see the ball getting, they stop, they put their foot in the ball, and what do? They turn round and they go back the way.
Oh, interesting. Well done, Fox. You opened up a bit of debate there. Yeah. I see his rationale. What he's saying is the majority of them are new players. They're the manager's players. He's signed most of them. And it's sink or swim time, Bridgeman.
Well, that was what I was meaning by it, mate. All I've read and all I've heard on this show is we'll have no identity. I mean, already we've got out a team there, and the first thing everybody does is pick out our weaknesses. Why are we worried about our weaknesses? We should be attacking teams and beating them, mate. You will lose goals in games. That happens in football. You're hoping that your team is strong enough in an attacking ideology that you can beat most teams. We shouldn't worry about other teams. We should only be worrying about what we produce on the park.
Is that the problem, mate? It's not that my defence should be able to lose the odd goal like Sunday, but we're not scoring goals at the right time.
See, Sunday, apart from all the hurt that I had, mate, Celtic never really outplayed us. They beat us badly. What they did was they scored it, whether we like it or no, soft goal. I would call it a great goal that Kyogo scored. If we'd have scored, if Canberra would have scored that, we'd be raving about it, mate. But apart from that, they never at any time, I think, ran near the tappies. So it wasn't a heavy defeat. It was a goal out of nothing that beat us. You go back the week to the Wednesday when we were outplayed and totally beaten by far superior players. What do you say? But I'll say one thing at the end of that game as well. We were still trying to score a goal at 5-1 down, which I appreciated. No many other people did. It wasn't for lack of trying it against PSV.
There was a bit of effort even on Sunday, mate. But there was a lot of effort in the idea, mate, if I'm being honest.
I just think that people's disappointment is kind of foggying the idea that we're a really bad team, and I don't think we are.
Well, no, Fox. If you take the Livingston game out, mate, we've struggled to score goals.
Well, I'd agree with that. That happens in games. Every team struggles in games, mate. Livingston are a good organised side. People keep talking about them as if they're juniors. They're professional football players that can do a job, and some days it works for them, and they nearly hold you out. You know, but other days you'll run near the top of them.
It's a good point. Sorry,
no,
it's a good point. It's a good point that Fox makes. I mean, if you look at the PSV game, you go there, it's 2 weeks, and then you know they I think they was it the 66 minutes. It's when Taff scores very, very briefly. There's only a goal in it, and look, we were outclassed. I get that. There was a lot of endeavour, and I suppose what we'd be having a very different conversation if it was a team that chucked it. They didn't chuck it, and that's the main thing. I guess that's another positive. But look, they must be good players, right? They must be good players, but we need to fashion a side out of them, a system that we can hang our hat on that's going to score goals. Currently, the only guy that you can put your hat on to get you a goal for me is Roof, and I just don't understand his selection, the manager, and that needs to be fixed. Look, they'll either fix it or they won't, and he'll get the bullet, and that's what's going to happen. So it needs to be fixed. But you know,
is that the same Roof that everybody at the end of last year wanted ready, mate? Can he get him fit? Can he get him fit? But he comes in and he's. I do agree that Roof is a really, really good striker, but he's not going to be there all season, is he? We all know that.
Well,
so why not get your two strikers you've brought in? Dessers at least has had a run in the side, hasn't worked too well. Give the other two a run and give them games and let's see what they can do.
Well, I don't think we should judge Roof on his past medical history. I think the guy declared himself fit. He's been through an operation that he was putting off for, well, in his own words, a few years. It was a 4-month recovery. He's had a full pre-season and he's declared himself fit. And he's the only guy scoring goals. And I don't understand why. I mean,
that's not true, mate. That's not true either. He's not the only one that's scoring goals. They've all scored.
Ah, come on. Well, that's the case. Dessers has scored, didn't it? The ball bounced off him and he scored a penalty.
But they've all scored, mate. So, I mean, there's no use to saying it's only Ruth that's scoring. They are scoring goals. And I'm not just saying this for an argument. I mean, that's the truth, isn't it?
Ruth scored one goal. He scored one goal. Yeah.
I will look at it like that, I suppose.
He scored one goal away to Ross County, you know.
I know. I man chopped off it, should have stood.
Aye.
When it mattered.
Tavernier's the top goal scorer, actually.
Aye.
He is indeed with 4 goals, I think, mate. And I'm his biggest fan, but I would take him out, as I said. Take the 2 full-backs out and see if they are the problem. That's my thinking on it, you know.
It's a fair point, Fox, but I don't even know. I think there's a place in the team for James Tavernier because I'm contradicting myself because he's so lethal at the other end. It's just how you get that into the team and also shore up the back line. And I agree with the point, and clearly that's what the manager's take on it is. It's the risk and reward. And listen, James Tavernier could score you 3 goals. Look what he done on Sunday, the week before against Ross County. I mean, only James Tavernier could do that. He gets the ball, picks it up, he steals it in the middle of the park, runs forward 25 yards and pings it into the top corner. Brilliant goal. Absolutely outstanding.
If I could have my way, mate, I'd have him as the striker.
Well, I mean, and I know Fox, I know Oxy's opinion on that is, and it's probably true. The reason he scores so many goals is because he's coming for that deep position. Listen, there's a lot. I agree with a lot of the points tonight, and I also would agree. I don't think we've got a bad selection of players. I don't think that for a minute, and I don't believe that. I think we've got some unbelievable players in our team. Cantwell is an unbelievable footballer. I'm telling you, Cantwell is a proper footballer, and I think we all know that. And there's other players in that team that are really, really brilliant footballers. And all we need to do at this moment in time is, and that is the issue. Michael Beale himself, I'm sure would admit this. He's not found the formula yet. What that is to make that team tick and make it work. And as every game goes past that he ends up on the wrong end of a result, it's piling more pressure on him. And that's all that's happened. Like every football manager, you only, and especially in the modern world. I mean, it's even blooming worse in certain other leagues. You only get a handful of games, and the pressure's on, and you're out of job. And I think that's just the way football management is in general, the world over now.
Yeah. Listen, it is results driven, but I think there's always an element, bizarrely an element with this project this time, that people aren't happy because of the performances as well. It's a combination. We've won, but we've not been great.
100%. The performances are, on one hand, the performances are very good. But I think the worst thing that can happen, they do these crazy, we'll try this wee trick, flick here and a flick there, a short pass, a 10-yard pass even, and you find that either you've not hit it hard enough or you've hit it 10 miles too hard, And all these things are going on in our midfield, particularly our midfield. And it's really frustrating when you're standing, you're watching it coming into the box, and you're doing well, you have maybe 3 or 4 really good passes, and then it's utterly hopeless. If they just have a shot and it goes over the bar, fair enough, But no, you don't give progression away when all of your team are advancing. It just doesn't happen. You can't happen. It needs to stop. It really needs to stop. But that's what causes a lot of the frustration, is losing the ball at terrible times and terrible movements. Lose the ball, it just drives you nuts. And that's why the pressure's there on Mr. Beale. That's a big pressure.
I think the major pressure's on Michael Beale because we've not scored enough goals at the right time. Yeah, obviously you combine that. You combine that with the fact that we've gave cheap goals away. I think it's against PSV, we don't lose that goal for De Jong's shoulder. We got the park. We missed a sitter to make it 3-2. It could have been 3-1. It's fine margins, but to win football matches, Jaffa, and Fox should come in with this, you've got to score goals to win football matches.
You have, Ox, and we have not been scoring enough goals. We haven't been, and that's one of the problems. And there's reasons of mitigating circumstances. We've brought in a lot of players, and that usually takes time to get them settled. Of course it does. I get that. I respect that. But I just feel the amount of time that we've had, not only we last season, and that was the reason why we got him in. We all kind of wrote off last season as a dead rubber. And I know he only got 2 of his players in. you know, out of the 11 new signings that he's made. I know 9's this year and 2, you know, there was a big turnover, but he still had the nucleus of the same squad. And I think that's what's causing a lot of disharmony in the camp. It's because we thought we were on to, you know, he had a system, he was playing a system, and it just looks like that system's been torn up to try and accommodate the new players that he's brought in. And I personally, I think that's one of the main issues. Coupled with not scoring enough goals, he's chopping and changing it too much. I don't think he's put out the same team. I don't even think he's put out the same team 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, you make decisions like that when you're under pressure. You know.
Well, that's what happens. You end up making mistakes, don't you?
Aye, in life you do. Aye. Brilliant shout, Fox. By the way, Mr. Fox, you still there?
Aye.
What did you think of the museum?
Terrific, mate. Absolutely terrific.
Yeah, surprised you did it. It was interesting, wasn't it?
Aye. That was very, very good. It surprised me altogether. I thought it would just be a wee load of trophy cabinets, etc., and things that I've seen before in Ibrox, but very modern. I think it would be great for kids and great for adults and pensioners. I think you could spend 3 hours in there and not even notice you've been in for 3 hours, mate. It's that good.
Can somebody do me a favour? Somebody's phone keeps pinging. I've got a funny feeling I know who it is.
Who is it?
Check your WhatsApp messages. Right.
Sending me WhatsApp messages.
Check your WhatsApp messages. Right. Okay. Right. Aye. I'm glad you enjoyed it, mate. Glad you enjoyed it. And who did you get your photos took with, Fox? What player?
A notorious right back, Mr. James Taverner.
He's loyal. Jaffa, he's loyal.
Nothing wrong with that. Don't. I'm not on James Tavernier's back here, by the way. I'm not. I like Tav. He's a great footballer, but just we've all got strengths and weaknesses, haven't we?
Can I just say? Sorry.
On you go, Brad.
I was just going to say that we can see all the ills about James Taverner or James Taverner's game. The amount of forward play he does is just unbelievable. He's a true athlete, and we can't do without it because he makes goals and he scores goals, incredible goals he scores, and he's still able to do it. And we need to be able to, at coaching level, we need to be able to coach people that can take over from him, not in defence, because we only want defenders in defence. And I don't know what we're going to do with Tal, seriously, but he's really is a fabulous athlete, and God bless us, he's carried us for weeks and end, months and end for me. Some of the goals have been unbelievable stuff, unbelievable. Not last one he scored, oh my God, incredible.
Anyway, we've been joined by Bob Chair. Evening, Bob Chair.
Hi, good evening, Ox. How you doing?
All right, mate. How's your good self?
Oh, well, it's been one hell of a long week. I think next week's going to be even longer. About 7 days in it as usual, but it's a drag to the next game. After what happened on Sunday. But we'll just have to put that behind us and go again at Perth a week Saturday.
Aye. That's the nature of the beast, unfortunately. You know, we've all got a thought.
That's the nature of the beast, yeah. That's it. That's the system we're in. That's what we'll have to adhere to. But any more news for the club? No. I'm glad they never sacked the manager, by the way. That doesn't work to me, as I've said on the show. Sacking managers and wrapping up squads. No. Club can't afford that anymore. We'll just have to go. We've got a new squad. 9 new players. We'll have to get a wee bit more time to gel. We'll see it will come good. Christ, we're starting 4 tournaments. The league's no lost. So let's battle on. We're Rangers and we'll battle on,
Aye, but the big question is, Bob Chair, how long?
Aye, for how long? Have we got the quality in the squad to maintain a full season like we used to? Because I can mind this time of year, you know, we could put together an 18, 19, 20, 21 undefeated run, and the majority of them were wins. And that used to win us the league. I'm not sure we're capable of doing that this year. Like, I'm sure you all feel the same.
We go with optimism. We'll go with optimism when the next game starts. But
we've got to be optimistic, Ox. We can't be anything else.
Aye. We've got a big week coming up. You know, you've got St Johnstone, then Real Betis. Which if you get after a good start, Jeff, on that cup. You know, if you did beat them at home, they're the maybe rivals, and you're in a decent position after one game.
Absolutely, Ox, and you know, as all we're all Rangers supporters, you've got to get behind the team. At the end of the day, it's you know, you still need to support the guys on the park, and ultimately support the manager if you know, if that's the way it is. You know, and I for one, I'll be there. I'll support them and continue to support them. And if we do, Ox, you know, we turn over Betis, that would be a great result. There'll be no mugs, you know, and it does set you up, and that's where he could turn it around, Ox. If he was going to turn it around, it only takes a couple of performances to breed confidence in the team. I just hope that's within there, and it's within the team. I have my doubts, but I hope it's within it, and that's just where my mindset is. But I'll be there to support it. I'll be right behind them.
It can be as simple as that, Bob, to your confidence.
Well, I don't want to come on here and like I've got a degree of pessimism. I hadn't. As I said, there's 80% of a season to go yet. And we've got to be confident. As I say, give this new squad time. We must. All right, everybody got a bit upset on Sunday. Of course, getting beat for them is always the most upsetting feeling in the world. But we've got it's a starting point a week on Saturday. Get things together. Get a good crisp fun up at Perth, that we hope. And then, as you say, go for it with Real Betis. Who Mr. Pellegrini is the manager, I believe. So, and there'll be no bad side. If we can get a win there, boost the confidence, and then take it into the fixtures after that. See how we do. A lot of the support, I don't know if you've noticed, they've been forfeit Europe, you know, for to win this league. I don't want to forfeit anything. I want Rangers to win every tournament they're in if possible. But there's a lot of people who would forfeit Europe,
Aye, and I understand that because of what happens, and you would still be in Europe up to Christmas. You get to win the league. If you threw in the cup with that, people would say it's a successful season, because that's got to be a priority. I get that rationale, Smurf.
Sorry, obviously, you're right. I couldn't get that off. Oh, dear me. Sorry, I'm on a kerfuffle. Sorry, can you repeat that again, Ox?
Oh dear, he's turning into Bridgeman, isn't he? Gaffer. Bridgeman, have a word with him. If we were to ultimately win the league and we win the League Cup, that's ultimately a successful season. Because I think it's Southside always says that's your bread and butter, and the
listen, that's got to be our objective. I mean, a lot of this anxiety doesn't even exist if the coefficient's maintained and you've got a team getting direct into the group stages. You know what you're going to be getting. Even your recruitment strategy can change for that. You can maybe splash a bit more money, etc., etc. The whole landscape changes. So we've got to be striving to win that league, because that's the key to alleviating a lot of our problems. Absolutely, everything changes. Then it's our recruitment as well. So no, we all this sort of anxiety just fades in, and we've got to be optimistic and we've got to keep going. We can't just keep tearing up everything because the finances aren't there to do it. It's okay getting rid of a manager, but who do you replace them when they're going to want a budget? So we've got to try and make it work. And I guess we've gone in the circles here, but we've got to get behind Michael Beale. I suppose that's when you put your frustrations to one side, that's ultimately what we've got to do. And I think come January, we'll see where we are.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if this soap opera's going to run to January, Bridge. I don't.
Well, I think there's an awful lot of folk waiting. Like myself, they're waiting. What's Mr. Beale going to do? What's the board going to do? Because it was a big high for the club and a big deep low. So all the stamastering about it, and everybody's, shall we say, looking for a position here. Nobody really knows what's going to happen. The board have got to come out and say something. They can't go on. They can't keep going. They can't keep going with the fans like this. One of these days, the fans aren't going to turn up in the way they've been turning up, and you start to wonder why. And the region's been there all the time for up to now, and he's been there. So obviously, if the board say, for me anyway, if the board say no, we're keeping them, then I'll support them. I'll support Rangers as my team, but I'll not be happy. I won't be happy. And if there is another clang, then all they have told you so is, like myself, will come out and say it.
Yeah. What did you have you settled down with Fox's team yet, Jaffa? Have you come up with your own?
Yeah. I would, as I said at the start of the show, Ox, I've not really thought too much about the middle to front, because I think we've got enough players in the pool, depending on who's in front of you, that could fill those roles. I mean, we've went through them, the Roofs, the Tom Longs, Cantwells, and I agree with what Fox was saying earlier on about the two guys, Danilo and Lammers and Dessers. I think, I know that a lot of people's views on Dessers is he's not scored and he's not contributed in the goal side of things. That's true. I've seen him up close a couple of times. I actually quite like the big fella. I think he does quite a good job up there. I think we just need to get a bit closer to him to get the second balls. I like him. I like his style. He's full of muscle. And he's good at getting involved, and he's good at reading the game. I would concentrate in the defence. For me, that's where I think a lot of our problems are inherent, and that's where they're leading through the team, and they're feeding through the team. And if we could sort out the back line, I think the rest of it will follow. I think the midfield will follow, and I think the forward line will follow, because I think a lot of guys are coming back to do jobs, and as I said, I don't know what they're getting told. We're not privy to that, of course. In the case of Cantwell at the weekend, there, the kind of roles that he was playing and what he was trying to get involved in, I don't understand why he's so far back at times and why he's so wide and he's not involved in the front area of the park. But that was just one game. That was one game in isolation. But that's my opinion on the team. I would concentrate on the back line first and shoring that up.
Yeah, but we're stuck with the personnel we've got, Bob, to January, haven't we? How do you shore it up?
That's it. You just have to go with what you've got. I mean, to me, John Souters will become a bad player overnight. Neither is Conor Golson. The left back's a bit of a grey area because he's injured again. No, he's going to play for Croatia at the moment, is he? I don't know. He declared himself fit with them, apparently. The left back position it's been a bit of a grey area for a while. Taverner, well, I think he's come at the end of it. But yeah, the man's right. It's got to be addressed sometime, but it can't be addressed until January. We'll just have to see what we've got. Leon King's getting fit again, I believe. So a good laddie. So, but we've got a class goalkeeper. If we get a decent back four in front of the man, yeah. Rangers could be well nigh impregnable in Scotland. It's when they step out of Scotland. You worry about it, but aye.
I get that clean sheets. Make it easier for you to win matches. I accept that. It's a rationale, but also accept that in a close game, you're going to have the mistake or good play. You're going to lose a goal. So I'm going to disagree with you slightly, Jaffer, and say the problem is we're not consistently scoring goals. And I think Fox hit the problem on the head. We're strikers who have scored the odd goal. James Tavernier is the guy who scored all the goals, 4 goals.
Right.
You think of our last 3 goals through open play? My last 2 goals through open play, in fact. All right, Ross County and PSV.
Lovely.
Who scored the 2 goals? Anybody?
Against PSV.
Ross County away. Who scored the second goal and who scored the first goal in PSV for us?
Oh,
the only one.
Tavernier.
Therein lies the problem. Though that Tav scored
Aye.
any goals, there were forward players on the score contributing anything. Yeah, they've all scored goals. Lama scored a good goal against Livingston. So did Kieran Dowell. Kabora scored a belter. But at this time of the season, with some of the opposition were playing, remember you could throw the Morton Cup tie in here as well. We're not scoring enough goals. We huffed and puffed and stumbled over the line against Morton. Bridgeman.
Yes, you're absolutely right. Stumbling is the word. And you're 100% right about the first statement you said. We're not scoring enough goals. Absolutely nowhere near what we should be. I don't know if you're on the stats back for 2 seasons, you probably find that we're 90% down or something like that. You know, I wouldn't be surprised at that. It's shocking. You know, I think we're in the league. I think we're 4th in the league. We've played 4 games. We're 4th in the league, and we're 4 points behind number 1 and 2 in the league. I can't believe it. There you go. And probably, I don't know how many league goals are scored. Maybe 6 or something like that, if we're lucky. Quite incredible. These things that you're asking questions about, Austria, first class. First class.
Yeah.
But can I ask something? I'm sort of been bottling asking this question, because I might get banned.
All right, well, if you might ask Jeff out live in there, I'll listen, move it, carry on.
Right. Apart from maybe Marisic, right, with a more or less a fully fit squad, get into that game in the weekend at home. So that set of circumstances, that exact same squad, more or less everybody available. But Brenda's managing the team. Does the team lose that game?
I think he's no influence apart from the first half in that game, where the way they played the set up. The second half, if you look at it, and you look at the possession and where we were panning them back to, they had a couple of breakaways, you'll get that. But over the piece, the second half, arguably, if we could put the ball in the net, I'm going back to that again, if we could put the ball in the net, we'd have got the equaliser and maybe we'd only get the winner. If Lammers puts the ball in the net, the pressure swings on them because we could be pushing for the winner then. So I don't know if he made any difference to that. He got a result because we were so poor. As Fox rightly said, it wasn't as if they came and we went, wow, we're miles behind them. That wasn't the case on Sunday. We were frustrated. Jaffa, then Bobja, then Bridge can come in.
And I think that feeds into Ox exactly why a lot of the fans are reacted the way they did, because they were poor. You could see they were poor. I mean, that's the poorest I've seen them playing against us in an Old Firm game for many a year. I'd agree with you, Ox. I don't think he had any. If anything, he looks to me like he's probably taking them back a step. I mean, they're not playing with that same freedom that they played with last season or the year before. That kind of high tempo, they weren't. That wasn't evident. Again, I think down to probably we lost the game rather than them winning the game. We gifted them the game because the first half in particular, McGregor it wasn't even that he needed to go and look for the space, Ox. He was just finding himself in acres of space in the middle of the park. You know, they were playing out between them out wide, the right back and one of their centre backs. Where Dessers actually caught him. They'd done that a number of times before he caught him and after it. And McGregor would come out the middle and he would pick up the ball. They would play it through our press. I think we lost the game. I don't think they won the game. I think we gave them the game on Sunday, and that's. I agree with your point, Ox. I think, yeah. I mean, scoring goals wins you football matches. You score, you know, the old Newcastle philosophy. Kevin Keegan, you score one, we'll score one more than the opposition. I understand that. Okay, maybe a better way of putting it is we're not scoring enough and we're leaking too many. And that's fundamentally why. That's why we're losing. That's why we're losing football matches.
I can't argue with that neither. I can't argue with that. Bobja and then Bridge.
I agree absolutely what the boys are saying. We aren't, but put it this way, I looked at the table odds. We've only scored 1 goal less than them. That's incredible. We've only scored, for as bad a season as we're having up to now, we've only scored 1 goal less than them. But the difference with them is, and I didn't like admitting this, they've got that wee man with them that can take a chance, and he got a chance against us and he took it. We haven't got that. As you say, it's all hop and pop. You're creating chances, but nobody seems to be sharp enough 6, 7 years out to take them. It's like we're trying to walk the ball into the net all the time. And it's been a problem with Rangers for a while. That. We haven't had like a 22, 25 goals a season striker for a while, and we need one now. There's Danilo.
Last man to score over 20 goals, league goals for Rangers. Quickly, anybody?
Oh.
Morelos.
I think right with that.
2011.
Kenny Miller.
2011.
Oof.
Oh, Christ. I'm racking my brain here. We're going through all the squads.
There you go. Just leaving school, I was. Bridgeman, in you come.
Just leaving school, I like that one. Very good. No, I think what the boys have been saying is 100% correct. I don't know how we're going to get goals in there. I don't know. I don't know what kind of format he's going to put in there, what kind of training he's going to do, or coaching, because whatever he's doing, it's not working. It's just not working. It's quite as blatant as that. And sometimes we're playing lovely football, and you get into the box and you give it to the players and they just don't do it. And Bob just right. We've been like that for quite a wee while, and if the last man to score us something over 20 goals was way back in the bad old days of the 1960, sorry, 1980 or 2010 or something, was that?
2011.
2011. Oh, for God's sake, you know. So you're talking like that's 11, 12 years ago.
Stephen Naismith.
Kenny Miller, 2020. Yeah, I think 2011. I think that's right. I read it somewhere. I don't know if it's correct. I've not actually checked it. If that's right, that's frightening, Smurf, isn't it?
Scary.
Aye, terrifying. And that's why we've not had the level of success that we think we should have. Some of our plays is merited over the years, you know. It's all fine margins. It's like you said about the PSV game at home. You know, it could just have easily ended 3-1 that game. So if you don't score goals, you don't win games. I think that's it. And, you know, if you're losing them at the other end, like we are, you've got these are problems that need to be addressed. And like we said earlier, I think we need to start for the back. We need to shore up that defence and just get a foundation, you know, and work on it. But the strikers that he's brought in, the forward players, they need to click. If that's an expression that's still valid, I'm not sure it is. And they need to start putting the ball in the net. Can't keep relying on it. Because last year we were saying we've got our top scorers, James Tavernier, we can't keep relying on him and this was going to be remedied and rectified. He said it himself. The status quo is the same.
I think you're allowed to say clicked. If I miss something in the world, Jaffa, you're not allowed to say that. What have I missed? I know there's a lot of things you're not allowed to say, yeah. But I think you're allowed to say clicks.
I think we can still do click.
No, I don't mean from that woke point of view. I'm talking about, you know, how long is it going to take? He's had a full pre-season.
Sorry, I
missed
you there. I thought you were saying you weren't allowed to say it. Yeah, right. Aye.
On the vegans.
Maybe that's a problem. Maybe they're wearing vegan boots.
And it's a leather ball. Is that what you're telling me? Am I being too optimistic and saying it's because it just didn't confidence? Am I simplifying it too much? Jaffa?
In reality, Ox, Probably not. No, it probably is down to confidence. Will be a massive part to play in it. And confidence can, it can do wonderful things. We knitting a team together, and if they start believing in each other, it could be just down to confidence. It could be down to confidence in the manager as well. Confidence in the manager and the group of players, and who he's got in front of him. And I know he talks fondly a lot of the players and about all the players, but it's performances, isn't it? It's what you're seeing on the park. It's what we're seeing as fans. I know we only see that end there. I get that. I get that there's loads more goes on in the background and there's more to it. I know that, and I think we all do. I don't think any Rangers fans are stupid enough to think that isn't just down to what happens in the park. I know things go on in the background and training and working on drills and all the rest of it. I get all that. But, I mean, listen, if he start winning games, Ox, it changes everything. And it does. 2 games, 3 games, 4 games, before you know where you are, you're in a different situation.
Okay. Bob,
I think what we're saying is simply this. We've no got enough scoring power in the team to take us through a series of games. Take my point? And Jabba says it could be, you don't know what it is, it could be confidence, lack of confidence, or I don't know. But a lot of these guys have played at a good level. They've played in Italy, they've played in Holland, they've played in England. And if they can't play in the SPL, well, I fear for them. So, yeah, it's a lack of scoring power. When you're right back to your top scorer, and he's been the top scorer for a couple of seasons now, then we've got a problem. Because strikers, as we all care, you're living in a day and age of the highest of high finance in football. And good strikers, decent strikers, cost a lot of money. And we brought in guys here that have been well paid, actually. I believe one of them was on 45 grand a week. And they've been there to do a job for the Rangers. So we'll just have to wait and see if we can do it or they can do it. But yeah, the lack of goals is worrying, very worrying, and it's went on too long. Do you agree?
Another point, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, was that you think maybe these guys, this is Michael Beale's first season, as it were, his season, and charge. He's made Michael Beale signings. Do you think, and you're never more than 2 games away from a crisis here, do you think the players are maybe feeling the pressure to deliver for a guy that's shown faith in them? He's been in good faith, believed in them, believed they were good players, that they would do the damage for us, and he brought them in, bit of fanfare about it, and then first whistle of the season, you've got to go and deliver, and it's not quite clicked and went according to plan, and we're starting to feel it. The reality, the goldfish bowls that were.
Yeah, but some say you mentioned liver, dear liver, but the day one they were undercooked, and we paid the price of 3 points at Kilmarnock. No pun intended, Bridgeman.
Absolutely. First day, quite embarrassing, very very embarrassing. So, not going to try and take it in away from Kilmarnock, even though I dislike them as a team and I dislike their part and probably their club. I have no like anything about them, but the truth is they didn't give in away to us. Nothing at all. We couldn't beat them. We couldn't beat them in any way. We could maybe get run down the wing or run up the centre. We just couldn't get that ball in the net. The goalkeeper made a nice save, but most of the time it was over the bar or bundled away by defenders. And that's what we're stuck with. And I don't know what we're going to do with it. I don't know, but it's embarrassing.
Anyway, we've reached that time of the evening. Bob Jar, thanks a lot as normal for giving us a call, mate.
Oh, a pleasure as always, mate. A pleasure as always. The Bridgeman says, do me this, follow on.
Yeah. Smurf?
Yeah, cheers, lads. Thanks for entertaining us tonight, and hopefully we're back with a better show with a win in the next game. Take care, thank you.
Cheers, mate. Jaffa?
Thanks again, Ox, for having us on. Really enjoyed the show. Thanks for the having us on Rangers Radio, and thanks to Bridgeman as well. Good night,
Bridge.
What can I say, Oxia? Marvellous night. We thoroughly enjoyed it, and thanks to yourself and of course the techie boys in the background, and of course my good babe, my good mate Jaffa. Thank you for carrying us through it, pal. To all the Rangers fans all over the world, and particularly Rangers fans on here on Rangers Radio. Every one of you remember who we are. We're Rangers fans. We are the people. Keep it going for the Rangers. Keep it going.
Here, Bridgeman. Here. Thanks to Bob J. Smith for joining us. Jaffa and Bridge for doing the show. Fox and Old School Blue for doing the technicals. Fox for chipping in with some great points tonight. This has been Rangers Radio. We'll be back tomorrow night between 8 and 10 talking about all things Rangers. Take it away. Old School Blue.